How you going, guys? Welcome back to Walk It Off. I'm Nathan, and today we're reviewing this one right here. Beyond Order, 12 More Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Let's go. So, Jordan's first book was an exercise on the perils of excessive chaos in your life and society in general, and how it really can't end well if we continue to push down that path. Beyond Order is the flip side of those arguments. And it explores the perils of excessive order in your life, and how living too regimented of a life doesn't really leave room for spontaneity. Yeah, when you presume that you're coming at a situation or a body of knowledge from a place of ignorance, it kind of really just invokes a sense of humility. I'm a big believer in reading people that you disagree with, and that's what initially led me to read Jordan Peterson. So I think, one of the real takeaways from this book is the power of humility and just being honest with yourself about when you don't know something. Because if you don't have the humility to state that you don't know something, you're never going to be able to overcome that, and you're going to be trapped in this little pocket where you're pretending to know things that you can't possibly know. And that seems to be an exercise in futility, and you're never going to be able to move forward from that position. And I think the way he phrases it, where those unwilling to be the fool can never be the master, I think that's a really beautiful and poetic way of saying it. Another quote that I liked from quite early on in the book is, "Follow the rules until you're a shining example of what those rules fundamentally those rules are, what the meaning behind them is. And it's only then when you understand why the rules exist in the first place that you can break the rules. And that is, you should only break the rules when the rules themselves are no longer working, right? When the rules are being manipulated in such a way that they fundamentally break what those rules were made to do in the first place." I think that really works in a kind of standing up to corruption kind of way, and especially in light of what's happening in the Australian state governments at the moment. And we've reached a point now where the rules are being manipulated by those in power for their own means, and now it's time to turn that around, because the rules are no longer working for the little bloke. Another rule I really, really liked was, do not hide unwanted things in the fog. And while that sounds a bit esoteric, I actually really like what it means. Okay? So, Jordan tells a story about his father-in-law, about how he used to come home in his lunch break every day and see his wife, and they'd have lunch together. And one day he must have had a rough day at work, but he snapped at his wife over the size of the plates she was serving lunch on, and how he really, really disliked these small plates, and it kind of made him feel like a kid. And that's something that, before he snapped, this went on for 20 years and he didn't say a single thing. I guess what Jordan's trying to get at is, you shouldn't let little things that bug you continue, because saying nothing about them is just going to build up this aggravated feeling inside you until you do snap, which is never good for anybody. So do not let small things that piss you off go unnoticed. And if they are really aggravating you, say something. Yeah, when you've got no clear goals in life, then you're just going to be going around and around and around in a circle and never get anywhere. Yeah, if you've got no plan, you can't go anywhere. And you need a map for your life. A poorly integrated person will struggle to hold themselves together and be volatile and directionless. You'll see this, I've seen it quite significantly in people where they are just being pulled in aimless directions because they've got no real sense of direction on where they want to go, or their goals are so kind of aloof and ill-defined that I don't know who said it, but when you've got no clear defining way of saying you've reached your goals, that's a surefire way of not holding yourself accountable because you don't want to deal with the pain of failure of not meeting those goals. That links back into small steps, but so it doesn't matter how small your steps are, as long as you've got a defined direction, you'll go somewhere. Because individual steps build up over time. I think I've spoken about this before. There's a Japanese word for it. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's just it means incremental daily improvements on something. Your body secretes a hormone. It's the chemical signature of stress called cortisol. And when your body is just dealing with that constantly, the side effects of that are indistinguishable from rapid onset aging. If old memories still haunt you, write them down as carefully as possible. Now, I came across something like this a little while ago, and I can't remember where I found it, but it's almost like a little ritual where you write down all the painful memories and then you burn the piece of paper as a ritual of kind of forgiving yourself. And I didn't follow it exactly like that. I remember doing something along the lines of writing all my painful memories down on a piece of paper and then just throwing that piece of paper off the top of a cliff. And it sounds silly, but little rituals like this can really help you. It signifies you moving past something. It's something that Mark Manson talks a lot about on his YouTube channel in regards to little rituals that can trigger. And it's another thing that James Clear as well with the habit stacking thing, is give yourself little rituals that trigger closing down for the day. So like you say to yourself out loud, I am now finished for the day, and turn the computer off, helps you relax better. Something that Jordan Peterson talks about in this book is the purpose of memory. Now, we evolved our memories not to have a rewindable videotape of our past. It's literally an avoidance mechanism to stop you stumbling into the same things in the future. Yeah, if you can't articulate what went wrong in the past, you are absolutely doomed to repeat that in the future. One of my favourite rules that Jordan writes about here is one of the latter ones in the book, and that is, do not allow yourself to become resentful, deceitful, or arrogant. And this ties back into the working hard on at least one thing and only comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. And a lot of people seem to get really, really resentful at your forward motion because they lack the discipline to achieve it themselves. They don't want to admit to themselves where they've faltered, and therefore they can't get past any of it. It's like jealous and lazy people tend to be the masters of their own destruction. And yeah, they just don't want to have the discipline to do the work. And unfortunately, that's the only way you're going to move forward. And some of these people will watch you moving forward, even if it is very slowly, but they'll actually try to undermine your success as opposed to working on their own, because let's face it, everybody knows that it's easier to destroy than it is to make something. And it's something that I've noticed is that a lot of these types of people, they don't, how can I put it? They're not happy with themselves, but they crave external validation, and they need it so desperately. But the only thing that they can never have is the internal validation, and that's really the only thing that they actually need. Now we've come to the final rule, which is be grateful in spite of your suffering. This is something that really, really resonated with me. Yeah, I think being grateful because you know how bad things can get, and you use that as a drive to make yourself better. That's what I've been doing for the past 3 years. And yeah, I really hope that you can do it too, because you've got to work on yourself. You cannot truly be thankful for what you've got until you've experienced real loss. And that's something that really, really, really resonated with me. I mean, I've kind of felt that from a very early age. I mean, I lost my dad when I was 4 years old, and I've kind of suffered through that with no real positive male role models or guidance, and I've kind of searched for that my entire life. And yeah, it's taking account of you. What's the old saying? You don't know what you've got until it's gone. So yeah, overall, you should definitely read this one. Most of Jordan Peterson's material, it may either aggravate you with its overall kind of tone of Christian apologetics. Again, being an atheist myself, it took me a while to get over that. So yeah, you should definitely read this one. It's not quite as good as 12 Rules for Life, and I will admit it kind of, in parts, it does come off as kind of like the B-sides from that book, which I genuinely think it is. But yeah, it's good. You should read it. It'll help you out, I think. Jordan Peterson kind of comes off as the granddad that we all needed, I think, in this age of aimlessness, really, especially for blokes. We need some guidance. Sorry to say it, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. You should read it. And you should clean your damn room. Alright, guys. I'm Nathan. This has been Walk It Off. Hashtag read this one. Remember, go outside. Get better. Be awesome. Catch you next time, guys.